believe in the mission to provide basic needs to improve the community's quality of life.
I believe that every girl and boy deserve a quality education.
I believe people everywhere deserve a life of dignity and a future filled with opportunity.
I believe that free access to education belongs to everybody across the globe.
I believe everyone deserves access to clean water.
I believe that people everywhere should live a life of dignity.
I believe that all girls deserve to write the story of their own destiny through education.
I believe we are all one community no matter where we live in the world.
I believe in dignity for all.
I believe every young woman deserves an education.
I believe we all deserve access to clean water, health care, food, and education.
I believe everybody deserves clean water and an education.
I believe we're all family.
I believe everyone deserves access to clean water and education.
I believe education opens the door to opportunity and also to sustainable change.
I believe in justice and dignity.
I believe everybody deserves an education.
I believe in progress and striving to make the world a better place.
I believe.
I believe.
I believe.
We believe.
We believe. We believe.
We are all one
global community.
And that together,
we can create lasting change. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to my living room. My name is Kate Ten Harmsel, and I'm the Executive Director of Community. Whether you're new here tonight or you're someone who's been with us for our entire journey, we are so grateful that you took the time to join us. I want to also thank all of our volunteers who helped make tonight possible. For the last 8 months, we've had a group of volunteers here in Chicago planning Harambee Chicago that was supposed to happen on May 8th. 3 weeks ago, we had to make the difficult but necessary decision to postpone that event, and our team shifted seamlessly to put together tonight's experience. So thank you to the volunteers who have been working so hard, learning so many new skills, and helped to make tonight possible so that we can connect with you still. For anybody who's new to Community, we've been around since 2007, and we partner with East African communities to develop sustainable solutions to poverty. Along with local leaders, we've created a 3-part development strategy that addresses access to basic needs, a quality education, and a sustainable income. We know that there is not one-size-fits-all solution to eradicating poverty, and that the way out takes trust, relationships, and a really core belief that those in the community know best how to bring their communities out of poverty. We're community-led, community-developed, and we partner with local leaders to make this work happen. I don't know about you, but 2020 has not gone as planned. 2019 was an amazing year for us. It was our most impact-filled year ever. We hosted our first annual Harambee Chicago, which was our biggest fundraising event ever. We had our biggest group of Kenyan high school graduates that graduated in December and sat for their exams. We awarded 12 university scholarships. We had a record speed for the organization of fundraising for and drilling and completing a clean water project that brought clean water to 6,500 members of the Alamunyi village. We brought our biggest team to East Africa, and in December, we took a risk and applied for our very first grant. And I am so excited to share with you tonight that 2 nights ago, we got an email from the IMF saying that we had been selected for that grant. 2019 brought so many exciting moments, and we came into 2020 with a ton of energy and momentum. Well, things look a little bit different now, but we are still grateful to be here and grateful to have so many people who continue to rally around this mission. Over the last several weeks, our partners have reached out to ask how you're doing. They've seen the news of what's happening in the US, and they've been worried for us. They've asked how our donors, our sponsors, our volunteers, make sure everyone's healthy. They've offered words of encouragement and prayers. And in the same way, you all have reached out to ask, how are our partners doing? So I wanted to share a little bit of what they have shared with me on how COVID-19 is impacting their communities. One of the things that I don't think we really think too much about here is access to information. We are inundated with information here. But there, when the government puts out all their guidances and their notifications in English, there's many people in Kenya, especially in the rural areas, who have never had an education, who don't know English. So it's been really unnerving to them to not even know what COVID-19 is, or let alone how to prevent it. I'm going to talk a little bit about how we've partnered with our partners to help alleviate that burden a little bit later. We also have all of our students who are in our education program in Ethiopia and Kenya are now home for extended periods of time. For some of them, that's fine. It's not a big deal. But for some of them, there's a lot of insecurity in their homes. In Ethiopia, many of the parents live day to day looking for work so that they can feed their kids. COVID-19 has put a big stress on that, with parents not able to go out looking for work because their kids are home, and price gouging happening in the markets. Food security has become a big crisis. In Kenya, in the rural areas, many of the girls face a lot of cultural pressures. Things such as early marriage, female genital mutilation, and teenage pregnancy are challenges that these girls face as they get pressure from those around them. We also have a food and water security crisis happening. In the communities where we've been able to provide water or do a sustainable agriculture project, those communities are in a far better position, and they feel equipped to be able to respond to the current needs. But for the communities that don't have access to water or depend on the village markets in order to get food, they're facing a really stark reality that they may not have access to their basic needs. There's actually a quote going around Kenya that's pretty common, especially in the rural areas. It says, "If COVID-19 does not kill me, starvation will." That's just something that, I personally don't have to think about, as I have a refrigerator full of food. But it's a very heavy burden that our partners are carrying right now. We're going to hear from all of our Kenyan partners tonight. They're going to share about how COVID-19 is impacting their communities. They're going to share about the need for us to all come together during this time, and also a little about Community's work and the positive impact that it's had on their communities. It's because of the relationships that we hold that we are in a position to respond quickly and effectively to the needs of these communities. Tonight is also a fundraising event. About 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, when COVID-19 first came to Kenya and Ethiopia, we met with our partners and developed prevention plans. I then put out an appeal to all of you to raise $10,000 for phase 1. Today, we have about $9,500 of that $10,000 raised, and we have implemented several different interventions. In Kenya, we've mobilized county health officials to go into the villages and to train the community members on COVID-19 prevention in their native language. We've been able to reach 15,000 members so far. We've distributed 300 hand washing stations and soap to the most vulnerable in those communities, and we've met with the village leaders, such as the chiefs, the pastors, and the elders, to identify who in the village is most at risk should the virus spread. In Ethiopia, our partners have been monitoring our students and their families' situations. And as price gouging, like I mentioned, continues to happen, they've started to release some funds for food security and cleaning supplies for the next couple of months to each of the families. But as COVID-19 continues to become an increasing threat in these areas, so do the needs continue to grow. Our partners have already identified more needs, such as food security in some of the rural villages, and we anticipate that those needs are going to continue to grow over the next several months. It is our desire and our need to walk out of tonight with $40,000 in funds so that we are prepared to respond to our partners' needs when they happen. As you know, there is no time to wait with COVID-19, and so we are asking that you join us tonight. I'm going to now share a message from my dear, dear friend, our country director and one of our founding partners, Duncan Sakimpa.
My name is Duncan, the country director of Community Kenya. The first case of COVID-19 or coronavirus, which was reported in China, has finally come here in Kenya. There is need for Community as an organization to be proactive in continuously monitoring the situation in our project sites, in the communities and the populations that we serve, to make sure that the right information has reached there. We coordinate this with the local leadership who are in touch with the community all the time, and we have a good working relationship together. The projects that community has done, specifically the projects on provision of clean water, have come a long way in alleviating or conforming with what the government has required populations to do. We know that the government has always urged its citizenry to wash their hands regularly with clean water and soap, and thus the provision of clean water in our communities, especially in the villages like Buseron, Olomunyi, has come a long way in ensuring that water is available in the community. There is need again, as an organization, to continue rolling out more and more projects, doing more and more projects in terms of sustainability that will build the resilience of the communities in order to respond to this pandemic and many more that are coming or that may come, that may present themselves to the community.
As Duncan shared, it's our good working relationships with local leaders that position us in a place to respond to the current needs. But what he also shared was the impact of Community's work over the years, specifically as it relates to clean water. The advice that we're getting from health officials right now is that the most effective way to prevent the spread of COVID-19 is to wash your hands for 20 seconds and to do it frequently. For many of us, we don't think twice about that. But for people in Africa, where they are walking on average 6 kilometers each way, which is 3.7 miles, to collect dirty water, that's a lot to ask of them. To put it into perspective, Americans use 80 to 100 gallons of water a day. The jerry can that women use to collect water in East Africa holds just 5 gallons. And that water is used from everything from cooking to cleaning to bathing and drinking. So to ask them to now use some of that water for something else is a big ask, and it's a very difficult decision to make. Last May, we fundraised for a clean water project in the Alamuni village. That community was walking 10 miles each way to a dried riverbed where they would stop and dig until water percolated in. They'd then pick up the 40-pound jerry can and walk 10 miles back to their home. On September 2nd, just 4 months after we fundraised for this project, we were there with the community when they turned the water on for the first time. 4 months after that, I returned to Alamuni village and was shocked by what I saw. The women had already gotten to work and planted an acre of kale and tomatoes, something that they never would have been able to do prior to this water source. We're going to now hear from Mr. Dixon, who is the Alamuni Village Peacekeeper and the Water Committee Board Chairperson.
Nanu Dixon na nanu shama le community Olomunyi Oldinga nigi shokogi Enkai enashe araki dona soisho yiok otareto yiok Oldinga mukinoto apa ina reteto Oldinga nikitum enkare nekialaki oshi ina are enkiti toki kake ore tenkaraki ena moyian taata corona naewuo nikinchooitie enkare pesho meshomo aisafisha iltung'anak inkaik neo pesho tenkaraki enyamali neeku ore esiai olchamba ninye oshi kiata kituuno mpuka irnyanya sukuma neeku kiata taata yiok bahati amu kiata ina daa neeku nikinyamalu metaa ikenoyioki iltung'anak tena sababu ena moyian e corona nikiata naa mpuka naanya ina murua ang' ina community Olomunyi neeku kashukoki nanu iltung'anak lang' enashe amu etaasakita apa yiok ina nikinoto ina bahati neeku kijo yiok ashe oleng' naa tenkaraki ina naitaasaki yiok.
I love this story because it shows how quickly a community can transform when one basic need is met. It didn't take COVID-19 for us to know that access to basic needs such as food and water were critical. What COVID-19 did was shine a global spotlight on those that have and those that do not. While we celebrate the work that has been done in Mr. Dixon's community, we cannot forget those that are living without these same securities. We're now going to hear from two of humanity's finest. These men are respectable leaders, they're advocates for gender equality, and they lead their communities with humility and a great sense of responsibility. I have to admit, when I found out that in February I was going to have the opportunity to meet one-on-one with the senior chief of the Maasai tribe, I was intimidated. But his vision for his community and his clear sight on where he wants to see the Maasai tribe go is so inspiring and encouraging. So without further introduction, we're now going to hear a message from the senior chief of the Maasai tribe, Joshua Kaka, and our lead advisor and Kenyan board chairperson, Pastor John Karoka.
Mimi naitwa Senior Principal Chief, Kajiado County, Joshua Kaka. Mimi ni msimamizi wa Kajiado County kwa machifu wote, na tuko na hii mambo ya corona ambayo imeingia katika ulimwengu kwa jumla, especially pia imepata Kenya, na tunaona inasumbua wananchi. Lakini changamoto tunasema kama serikali kesho au kesho ingine wakiweka curfew, wengine hawana namna ya kwenda soko itafungwa, duka itafungwa mpaka uwezi kwenda kwa jirani. Wale watu ambao watakuwa nyumbani watakula nini? Hawa watu watakuwa kwa shida, na Wamasai wanategemea mifugo. Lakini wale ambao hawana mifugo watafanya nini? So ndio ninaomba, nikiwa kama msimamizi, nikiwa kama mwakilishi wa Kajiado County kwa jumla, kama kuna uwezekano ambao serikali itainuliwa kidogo au wafadhili, kwa mfano kama wale ambao wametupatia tinga katika Olomunyi Bohol, wapate nguvu kidogo tena, wainue hiyo jamii, watupe hela kidogo, ili wale wananchi ambao wako ground waweze kufaidika.
Hello everybody, this is Pastor John Kiroka. I serve as a pastor in one of our local churches here in Kenya, Africa Inland Church, Kajiado Town. Kajiado Town is situated southeast of Nairobi, the capital city of Kenya. I'm married with one wife, Mary, and the Lord had blessed us with 5 children, 2 boys and 3 beautiful girls. First, as a pastor, I'm not full of fear, but I'm full of hope. As a Maasai pastor, I know that most of our population have not gone to school. Probably the school-going generation is up to 20, but 80% of the old generation did not go to school. So sometimes it's very hard for them to understand the measures that the government had put together. We are a pastoralist community. Many people live by, our main economy is cows, goat, and we find that people has to walk their animals for grazing. And therefore it's my appeal that all the stakeholders, this includes the church, this includes the county government, this includes the community, all the NGOs, the local leadership of the community, to all come together at this time and try to help the community so that we can save them against this deadly virus.
As Pastor and Chief shared, now is the time for us to all come together. Our East African partners know their communities best, and they carry the heavy burden every day. We have the opportunity and the privilege to come alongside them and see their visions into reality. A vision where every child is in school reaching their full potential, where mothers are not even thinking about whether or not water is contaminated and going to make their kids sick. and where every family has the opportunity to provide for themselves with dignity. The reality is that our world was broken long before COVID-19, but we're all feeling that brokenness in a very real way. I encourage us to lean into that feeling and to turn it into something impactful. Because as much uncertainty as I'm feeling and you're feeling, they're feeling it also. The work of Community has never been more relevant. COVID-19 makes that painfully clear. A global pandemic does not create as many problems as it exposes. But it has also exposed our ability as humanity to come together and to creatively connect and care for others, something that this community has done year after year. So I have no doubt that you will continue to show up, that you will continue to share your talents and financial resources, and that you will continue to take what you have and use it for good. We know that sustainable change is possible because we have seen it over and over again. And we are so thankful for all of the ways that you have been a part of that story. We don't know how COVID-19 is going to continue to impact our partner communities, but we do know that when our lives have resumed some sense of normalcy, that we still have much work to do. So I encourage you tonight to ask yourself, what can I do? How can I show up? And what does it look like to lean into the uncertainty with trust and care? Because I know that you care. You would not be here tonight taking time out of your very busy social lives right now if you weren't a person who cared. Before we end tonight, I want to remind you that this is a fundraising event, and we are fundraising $40,000 for COVID-19 prevention and relief. On the last slide is the link to give. On behalf of our partners, on behalf of the board of directors and all of our volunteers that hustled to put tonight together, thank you. And I encourage you to join us as we continue to stand alongside our East African friends. Thank you and have a wonderful and safe evening.